Okay, so once the mission statement is drafted, completed, we could then move on to customer need identification, which is also an important step in product development. So the reason why we need to identify customer needs is basically to ensure we focus on customer requirements. So the products are made for customers. So we need to focus on their requirements, and more importantly, we have to identify latent needs or hidden needs. That is, in fact, all customers don't need all the features in products. For example, if you take your mobile phone, you don't use all the features in the mobile phone, but there are customers, they use some specific features that are not commonly used by others. So there can be customers who use, when you take a broad spectrum of customers for that matter, you will find all features are used. So in that case, we need to identify certain hidden features, and we have to have a fact-based justification for our decisions, particularly the decisions that we consider to develop the product specification. And we need to make sure that we consider all spectrum of customers, uh, heavy users, uh, special users, uh, and users, general users, etc. And we need to, and also the product development team needs to understand what the customers require in a particular product. So the latent needs, or the latent customers or latent needs, are basically needs which are not recognized by the customers in advance. For example, the selfie stick or the camera in the phone. I'm not sure whether the customers really wanted these things, but when someone looks at the way the product is used by different customers, they come to know that okay, it is good if there is something like a selfie stick, so they start making it. But if you, before introducing the selfie stick, if you ask a customer whether if you are satisfied with the phone, they will say yes. But see, until you see that feature, you don't recognize the importance of that feature. The same thing applies to the camera in the phone. So nobody basically wanted a camera in the phone, but eventually with the technological push, people introduced the camera, and then it became a very useful feature in most phones. So the latent used are identified by closely monitoring the way the people use the product, and we find solutions to the difficulties they face. So the process of identifying customer needs starts with gathering of data from customers. So basically, we could interview customers and get this important information. You can conduct these things online. You can conduct through phone. You can create a website and get the data. You can use Facebook or anything like that for get in touch with possible customers. And for this exercise that have been given to you, you could consider anybody that you can contact at the moment are customers. For example, your colleagues, your batchmates, your friends, your relatives, or anybody in your neighborhood. You could consider as customers and get information from them for the sake of doing this exercise. And of course, you can get some information just by observing the way people use, and identifying the difficulties they face, and identifying some possible added features that you could include to make this make the product more attractive. And then once you gather data, you interpret the data in a more scientific manner, and you come up with something called need statement. And then you organize these needs in a specific hierarchical manner. If you visit 5.58, exhibit 5.8 in page 85, you find more details about this. And establish the relative importance of different needs. Again, exhibit 5.59 and in page 87, you would find information for this. And then you have to, once you work out um, all these things, then you'll have to get back to the customers again and get some feedback about whether you have done it in the proper manner, acceptable manner, I would say. Otherwise, you'll have to do some fine tuning. So information for these are available in page 87 and 88 in the text. So please go through these sections so that you can get better idea about this. And this graph shows some information about gathering raw data. As you can see, about 80% of nearly 100% of customer needs are identified through one-to-one interviews and discussions with focus groups. Focus groups are, of course, the groups that we identify, a group of individuals that we identify as very important customers, so that we can have a lengthy discussion with them to gather more information about the products required. So the interviews are usually done. For interviews, of course, we need about 10 to 20, 25, 30 customers. And of course, 8 to 12 customer focus group discussions we could carry out to gather data. As you can see here, about nearly 100% of needs are identified using one-to-one interviews and focus group discussions, as you can see here. And selecting customers for this exercise is very important. So you'll have to find people covering all spectrum of possible customers, lead users, general users, and retailers who sell this product to customers. The lead users are special type of users who do not get satisfied with a particular product easily. So they look for many features, many improvements. Always they criticize about the projects, about the products. So you can see there are some websites, people write reviews on products. Like that, you compare the positives and negatives of these products. So it is very important to have some lead users in your customer base, because they can provide very useful, valuable information for your product development. And there are standard templates and forms available in the textbook. So please follow these formats to gather your data from customers. Again, I would say the customers are your friends or people that you can contact right now. So please use these data templates, whatever the templates provided in the textbook. And there are some questions also given there, sample questions. You could modify them and use for your problems. And so please keep this whatever the documents as evidences, because you'll have to write a report in the end, and you have to include these things as appendices. And for your data analysis, you need all this information in the future. So therefore, whatever method that you use, you either write down a piece of paper or copy an email or whatever discussions that you have, and keep all these evidences. Follow the standard formats, templates, as you can see on screen now. And then once you identify customer, once you gather customer information, then you do some analysis on this data and write the customer needs statement. So a guideline is given here to write the need statement. What should you include in a need statement, and what should not be included. So you could follow these guidelines. So the process of looking these aspects into detail is called brainstorming. Brainstorming is for anything. It's not just for customer need analysis, but it's a technique, it's a tool that helps us to generate ideas, generate different type of ideas to solve a problem. So the brainstorming is a group activity which enables free thinking and exploration of ideas. Brainstorming, of course, we need to do brainstorming at different stages of this product development exercise. At the initial stage, like what we are going to do now, customer need analysis, and then at each and every step, for example, concept development, concept selection, and things like that, you'll have to do series of brainstorming sessions. So in brainstorming, basically it's a idea generation process. So we should not impose rules, regulations, and restrictions, strict restrictions for people to give ideas. So we'll have to be it has to be a very open discussion forum where anything is acceptable, any kind of ideas are acceptable at that level. So in a brainstorming session, usually we have participants. Of course, you can invite experts from different categories, different areas of specializations when it comes to talking about a specific topic. And then brainstorming session should have to have an owner. So owner is a person who has a very clear idea and understanding about the problem that you're going to discuss or solve during the brainstorming session, and he or she eventually evaluate all these ideas and summarize the session. And to conduct a session in a more productive manner, there has to be a facilitator or moderator whose job is basically to make sure that the session is run in order and of course provide all required supporting material for the session. And there has to be a scribe, so whose job is to record whatever happens during the discussion. So everything happens during the discussion will be recorded by the scribe, and it can be writing down short notes, or it can be making sketches, or it can be developing certain SolidWorks modules, for example. So there are a set of rules. They are not hard and fast rules, but as such. But of course, there are certain rules, guidelines that are available in order to conduct a brainstorming session in an effective manner. Basically, initially we'll have to have a very clear and well-defined focus on the problem that you're going to discuss, and you'll have to stimulate lateral thinking. You'll have to encourage bold ideas or wild ideas for people to present, and of course ideas need to be visualized using sketches or models so that others can easily understand what you say. Usually we build systems based on others' ideas, so it's a kind of a sequential process where we put ideas of different individuals together and come up with some solutions. And of course we'll try to generate many solutions at this level, and then we don't make any judgment at the brainstorming session, so it's a free open forum for everybody to contribute to, and we don't interrupt people, we don't disturb people when they exchange when they express their opinion, And of course, as I said earlier, we'll have to record all ideas and concepts clearly during the session. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the owner should conclude the session, summarize the session, and accordingly, I should identify several ideas that need to be carried forward for the investigation. And of course, he or she has to finally document all this outcome of the brainstorming session for the benefit of others. So usually the brainstorming sessions that we conduct at the beginning of the product development process, the ideas that are popped up, and we may need to change as we go on. That is the usual practice through when you do various different analysis. So there are some software tools available to conduct brainstorming sessions effectively. You may search in the internet or Google, and you can find some web-based tools or free download software packages. One such package you can find here. So now, when it comes to summarizing the findings of, when it comes to summarizing the outcomes of a brainstorming session, there are several tools available for us to make use of. One such tool is affinity diagram. Affinity diagram is a kind of a tool that gathers large amount of data and organizes them into groups. So we try to categorize the ideas that we have into several groups using this affinity diagram. So it was originally proposed by Japanese scientist Kawakita Jiro. Therefore, sometimes this method is called KJ method as well. So you can see an affinity diagram, for example, like this. So we have categories and several elements. Elements are more or less at this level. You are doing customer need analysis. So these elements are more or less the customer needs. So by categorizing customer needs into different categories, we are trying to translate customer needs into high-level needs, clusters of high-level needs. So the customer needs are the elements, and we put certain customer needs together, and we create high-level needs for different categories. For example, this particular product is an interactive learning system for kids. Interactive learning system for kids, and so this is what set of customer needs. So this, you can see the customer needs. I need a monitor that cannot be thrown or damaged. So this for kids. So it has to be a heavy duty machine, otherwise it can be broken easily. So I need to very heavy unit so that it cannot be moved here and there by the kids, and need computer speakers that cannot be damaged. So it has to be robust, and it has to be a reliable product, and it has to have a shatterproof glass on a tablet, for example. So likewise, there are some customer needs like that. So you can put all these customer needs together and categorize them as heavy duty category or indestructible category. So that is the high level need in this level. So for each customer need, for certain combination of customer needs, I would say, you'll have to identify some high level needs and categorize them and put it into the high level needs. So at this level, we try to understand what are the elements of the product that are that will be appealing to the customers. So most preferred features that are required by the customers. For that, of course, we'll have to rank the customer needs. We'll have to put them according to a certain ranking. So that ranking, of course, you can do based on your brainstorming discussion, ideas that come up, during the brainstorming session, based on your own experience. Or else there are tools available, particularly for complex problems. There are some certain tools available for ranking. If you look at such a tool available for ranking, analytical hierarchy process, that is popularly known as AHP, which is used mostly by the industry. And if I explain this a little bit, um, if you have n number of high level needs, mind you, this analysis basically we perform on high level needs. So if you have n number of high level needs, and if you denote them by capital Nk, where k is 1 to n number of high level needs, each need is capital N, and then what we try to do in this hierarchical analytical process is basically compare the importance, or relative importance between two needs, Ni and Nj, for example. So we try to compare the relative importance of two needs, and then we assign strength preference for each comparison. Strength preference for each comparison. For example, if Ni is definitely more important than Nj, you can say the value of P is, for example, 10. So you can decide these numbers. There is no hard and fast rule. And for example, if Ni is more important than Nj, it's not definitely, but more important. So you can assign another number. And equally important, usually if the two needs are equally important, we use number 1, P value number 1. And if Ni is less important, we get the inverse of these numbers. So equally, if Ni is less important than Nj, so you can say 1 upon 5. And if Ni is definitely less important, then you could say 1 upon 10. So that is the usual practice. If one is more important than the other, we use one number, and if it is one is less important than the other one, we use the inverse of that number. So of course, as I said earlier, there is no hard and fast rule to select these numbers, and so this there is no absolute value for this. And then, of course, we are trying to solve this problem, trying to rank them, considering the eigenvectors associated with the matrix given by P equals alpha ij, P equals alpha ij, where alpha ij is the preference of Ni against Nj. Preference of Ni against Nj is called alpha ij. So that is exactly the value of P. Value of P. So, for example, if Ni is equal or equivalent to Nj, the preference of Ni is equal or equivalent to Nj, as we showed in that table before. Nij equals Nji equals 1. Nij equals Nji equals 1. So that means, of course, the diagonal of this matrix is always 1. So preference of Ni against Ni is 1. And then if Ni is preferred to Nj, if Ni is preferred to Nj, then we call alpha ij is P. So this value that we showed earlier, this value Ni is preferred to Nj. So we give P, where P is the strength of preference, and otherwise, if that is alpha ji will be 1 upon P. So alpha ji will be 1 upon P. And of course, to find this ranking, we could ask, we could get the opinion of the key customers to rank the pairs, which one is more important than the other one. Of course, you'll have to get a feedback from the key customers. Now after that, of course, eigenvectors associated with the matrix need to be worked out, and one formula is given here. So once you worked out alpha ij and alphas, all alphas, you could calculate this wk. So that is the basically the ranking. That is basically the ranking that we are talking about. And one such example is like this. So for this learning system development, so this matrix gives you an idea about how this AHP process works. And you find out the importance, scaled importance value over here based on the numbers that you get here. So you can see based on the previous table, the values of P are assigned. So the diagonals are 1, and rest of the values are based on which one is more important than the other one, vice versa. So there are some software tools available to do this AHP process, and there are some Excel templates also you could download from the web. So just search for tools if you are interested, so that you could use these templates when you do your exercises on this. And once you do this ranking, of course, you can find the values corresponding to the importance of each and every customer need. Now, in this particular exercise, maintain focus and attention has become the most important customer need. Of course, if it is a learning tool, getting the attention as well as the focus of the student would be the most important thing. So as you could see here, all these rank, the importance, the number that you have got here is based on the analysis that was just introduced. So in this one, of course, you can see a few more information. Some how these needs are obtained. For example, the most important need, as you can see in this table, the most important need, the maintain focus and attention, has come from an exciter. As you can see here, the exciter is a lead user, where these people, as I think I mentioned this in my previous presentation also, so they provide you the information that you usually don't get from usual general customers. So they are usually not get satisfied easily, so they always look for more and more sophisticated features in a product. So such customers would give you very good information about how your new product will going to be. So that is very important, and that is a critical need also. So which is very important element that you need to address when it comes to develop a new product to stay competitive in the market. And some needs you can see normal. So the normal is basically the features that you used to be. So the features that you are used in a product has to be in the new product also, otherwise people will not accept. And some needs are expected needs, so you expect that to be there. So usually you get that, but if you miss an expected need, then again your product would be a failure. So expected needs are general needs which are expected by default. So if you miss out any one of them, then the customers will reject your product. So the normal features, which are the common features that you see in most competitive products. And this is another example. This is a set of customer needs for a suspension fork that this example is in the textbook that I gave you, and these are the needs that are listed after customer need analysis, and then these are the relative importance of different needs. So this is what you need to do during the customer need analysis. So in the next exercise, what you're supposed to do is in the next couple of weeks um, is to do the customer need analysis and rank the needs of the customers according to their relative importance. This is the starting point for the next exercise. Thank you.